Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. I have Alan with me. How are you, Alan? You doing good?
I'm well, tonight? Susan. It's springtime in Chicago, so I only need a down vest. I took the sleeves off, so
on the inside.
On the inside, yeah. How about you?
No, I heard you have good weather there.
We do. It's sunny, and that's always a good thing. How's your week so far?
It is peachy. What did I tell you it was when we signed on here? Peachy.
You said peachy, and I know that's code for oh my God.
But it's code for send reinforcements.
Right. Peachy means look out, people.
Look out, everybody. How is everybody? Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are going to be talking about politics, and you guys, I don't know if you were watching the news today or in the past few days, but my gosh, things are really happening. Really, really happening. Yes, I see that, Susie. Ken Buck, let's just dive into this question. I know somebody else asked this question, which Alan starred, but since you're asking, we'll talk about this. I'm going to talk about some facts, and then we'll talk about psychic. The facts are, as I understand them, I could be wrong. Ken Buck is from Colorado, and he is from the district that Lauren Boebert is moving to take over his seat if she can. He already said he was resigning. He said he was resigning the end of the year. Well, he came on today on the news and said, I've had it with all of these impeachment, like festival. It's like a festival of impeachments. He kind of implied it's beneath us, and I'm done. I'm out. So he moved his retirement party up to like the end of next week. Now that causes some kind of issues because yes, they can have a special election, but they have to have it so many days before the regular election, which means that there's a time crunch. It also means that the way I understand it is Lauren would have to resign as a congressperson to run. That's what I understand. So she may have to resign her seat to run for his seat. So one little action by Ken Buck could cause a whole lot of dominoes to fall. And this is why I tell you guys, have hope. Have hope. Who would have thought this guy was going to today toss his Cheerios and say, I've had it. I'm not doing it, right? Okay, so I think this is good news. Now, question is, Alan.
No, go ahead. It's a two-parter. Come on.
It's a two-parter. Oh, what did I forget the second part? Tell me what I forgot.
Well, how the phrase I got was it's a Hail Mary pass. So it feels like there's some real strategizing going on here. It's not only people trying to scurry under the bed to hide, but I think there is some strategy here, but I'm confused about what they think they're going to accomplish.
Well, when you say strategy, do you mean Ken Buck has strategy in stepping down? Or do you think that was a surprise thing that now all these other people will be scurrying to make the best of?
My sense is he had a talking to, and I'm trying to unravel the Machiavellian story here, but it feels like he was coerced to resign. And would this be some way? Could this be seen as some way of keeping Boebert in play? Could this protect Boebert, or have just the opposite effect?
I feel like it's the opposite effect, because I feel like if Boebert has to resign, which she's going to do anyway, what it does to me is it leaves the House like in a, they're down another seat. The Republicans are down another seat. Like, what is their majority? One seat, maybe two. It's either one or two seats. How close are we to somebody calling Johnson and saying, we want to vote? How close are we to the Republicans, to some of these Republicans, like switching sides? I mean, what do you feel about it? Because we already know 6 Republicans are willing to sign on to Ukraine aid. We know that Republicans are going to be feeling some kind of way. And when I say that, I mean not good way, about Laura Trump being in charge of the RNC and all of the money coming to the RNC. And we already know that Liz Cheney started her own super PAC.
Oh.
She started her own super PAC. Liz Cheney, the Liz Cheney bell.
Liz Cheney penalty bell. That's okay. We'll give you this. We'll give you this one. Keep going.
So what I'm saying is, I feel like to me, this is the gauntlet. Like Liz Cheney has thrown down the gauntlet. She said, okay, you guys are going to usurp the money, power, whatever, from the RNC right into Donald Trump. And I'm going to start a super PAC to preserve the Republican Party. It's sort of like a Hail Mary to preserve the Republican Party by Liz Cheney. So if you look at the landscape like that, can you imagine some Republicans saying, wow, we're not going to have any money for our race. The RNC is nothing, not going to support us. We're not going to have anything. Our base is literally split up into MAGAs and people who aren't MAGAs. My reelection looks, even if I'm in a very solidly red district, my reelection looks, I don't know. The Republicans might run somebody against me. So there might be some fair weather friends, don't you think?
Yeah, there's some, the word I got is a rout. This could, R-O-U-T, I believe there's going to be a rout of people who start scrambling for the exits. And I'm not sure, I think there was a certain amount of satisfaction Ken Buck got from doing this. I think that it's many, many layered. And he just thinks this is such a SHIT show that he wants nothing to do with it. But I think he was also spoken to, and then he just said, "Screw you all, I'm."
That's leaving. The sense I got, because he said in his little speech to media, he said, "There's nothing that Speaker Johnson can say to me to get me to stay." So that implies, right, that somebody has come to him and said, hey, calm down. Everything's going to be fine. We just need you to stick around until the end of the year so that we can get Lauren Boebert in your spot, help us out here. And he's basically saying, no, I've had it. I'm out.
I think there's a similar question here.
That's true.
My sense is that this is a canary in a coal mine moment, that we're starting to, a canary in a coal mine.
Yeah, no, I'm all ears. Let's see what.
We're starting to see now them running for the exits. I think we're coming up on a time where there's going to be a shift in the critical mass, that they're all going to start running, and I think that has to do with so many factors, so much we don't know. There's so much that we don't know that's happening.
Wait, we're psychic. Wait a minute. What are you trying to say exactly? You just blew our whole reputation up here. Come on.
You can edit this out, right? Later. But I think even with us as, world-class psychics and intuitives, and egoless world-class psychics and intuitives, there's so much that we don't know that's happening. We do know that. We know that there's a drumbeat, and to a certain extent, save yourself. Yeah,
no, that's what I think Ken Buck did right there. And so I feel like, and I've seen this, the guide said these people are going to be jumping. And I think other psychics, maybe Linda G comes to mind. She talked about rats jumping off a ship.
Yeah.
I've been seeing this. I think other people have been seeing this. But I think we are here. Like, we have now reached this part in the movie where people are really steely-eyed, with cold eyes, the guides are saying, with reality in their eyes, looking at the situation and going, this is a no-win thing for me. Like, there's no way I'm going to win this. There's no way I'm going to get out of this. So I'm out. And then there's others, I think, that are getting out because of the indictment letters, because of
and that's what Ted Williams wrote, target letters.
Target letters. There's a lot of them getting out because of that. Yeah.
And and that's going, when that becomes known among a few, that goes like a wildfire through.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. You're right. You're right. It does. It scares. It's like a school of fish, they all kind of get scared together.
People, mark that on your calendar. Susan said I was right. Just a little notation.
What is today? March 12th. I'll help you.
So what do you think? And could, the situation at the RNC is just another example of this
Truly.
It's nuts. It's crazy. And yet it's happening. All these things are happening, often concurrently. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, everybody, I think it's funny that people are saying in the chat that Liz Cheney's not our friend. The reason that Alan rang the bell is because I get triggered by Liz Cheney, and I will lecture you guys for 20 minutes on Liz Cheney not being our friend. No, she's not our friend, you guys. Neither is Adam Kinzinger. I don't care how cute he is. He's not our friend, or whatever you guys think of him. But it is true that she started a PAC, and it is true that she will try to get the Republican Party, to capture it, to save what's left. You know, I mean, if there's anything left, to be honest with you, or she will create another version of it. That's how crazy it is that you really, truly may see the Republican Party have to become a different name, a different. That's where we are right now. So, but you watch Liz Cheney, guys, because that's the bellwether. That's the canary in the coal mine. That's who you want to watch for these things, because it's going to give you an indication of what's really happening behind the scenes.
So what do you think about the RNC situation, Susan? Is that, again, just another example of madness? And I don't think it's going to work. I don't think that ultimately it's going to be a source or a continuing or ready source of cash for Trump, perhaps initially, but.
And apparently they came out and said, we need $500 million. We need $500 million. I mean, they basically said exactly the same amount of money that Trump needs to get out of this E. Jean Carroll thing.
How idiotic is that? I mean, they're not even trying.
It's tone deaf. It's tone deaf. They don't see it. They totally have bought into their own, grift, and they don't see it. And obviously a lot of their people don't see it. So the question here in my mind is, because I thought either the Republican Party is going to, some portion of it is going to stand up, find whatever it is they lost, and stand up and push the Freedom Caucus out and stand up to Trump, or they're going to go over the cliff with him. You guys, they're choosing to go over the cliff with him. Even the governor of Georgia, Kemp, said, this is Kemp, the guy who was on the phone, the guy who is the reason that we have this lawsuit. Kemp is saying, I'm voting for the nominee. I'm voting for the nominee. You know what I mean? It's like, this man can't even say this guy's a crook. I mean, everybody's just signing up to support Trump. So to me, the only people that aren't are Kinzinger and Cheney. And to me, that means they're all going to go off the cliff together. And I think, I don't know if he's in the chat tonight, but even Kevin's Loving Vibration said it's going to take three voting cycles for the Republicans to get back to their power. What do you think? How long do you think it's going to take the Republicans to come back to some sort of semblance of a working party?
Is that for me?
Yes, sir. Is there
I was listening. I was lost in thought. I think it's going to be several election cycles. I mean, I'm seeing the late 20s, really. I think that there's a lot of swamp to be drained, and I think that they're tarred. There's so many people that are complicit in this, and I think the indictments and the trials and the jail sentences are going to be keeping people's names in the news for a long time. I think these are going to continue over, 18 months, 2 years, and they're just not going to be able to get to wash themselves of the stain.
I think 10 years. The guide said a decade. We could be litigating this a decade out. Now, imagine your life is that kind of ruined, for 10 years, the DOJ is hounding you. So that the thing that I've always seen is Liz Cheney. She's already done it. Before she moved, I saw her moving to another state where she could reinvent herself. So she's already done it. She's a law professor in Virginia or something. Mm-hmm. So she's moved. She's going to continue to find a place to get a foothold. She's going to restart. She's going to rebrand herself to center, maybe center right. It's not true. Any of this is not true, but this is what she's going to do. And then she's going to try to like hoist up the mantle of the Republican Party. So I think maybe not in 26. You know what? Do you think Liz Cheney is going to be a senator? Do you think she's going to run for Senate sometime? Because I just saw that today.
I feel that this is not going to pan out completely as she anticipated.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know that it's written yet about how this is going to pan out. I also think that there are going to be ongoing convulsions. The death of the Republican Party is going to be a long and slow process.
It's true.
And I think there are going to be a lot of opportunists that come in and try and take advantage of it or change their stripes. And at some point, more and more younger people who have a whole different way of seeing politics and their future are going to come a voting age. So there's going to be this interesting critical mass of the old order going away in death throes and then new people coming in. And I think that the idea that Liz Cheney or others can mount some sort of comeback could slide at some point, or if it is, it's a short term.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't see her as president.
I don't either. Kevin Loving Vibration is here. Hey. And he says he's not sure if Republicans can take over in 28 or 2023. It'll take a while for them to rebuild. That's how gutted, really and truly, you guys, Trump is going to do the Republican Party. So remember that one time I said that I was going to send him a thank you card? I think we can all get together and send him a thank you card. He's literally going to take it out. They're going to have to rebrand, but not only rebrand, but find their soul. Who are they? What do they stand for? And this is in the landscape of what Alan is describing as, well, now we've got these millennials and these Gen Zs and these other people that have a different perspective of what our country should be like. So they're going to be remaking themselves in this new landscape of a very different landscape of these younger voters.
Yeah. And again, opportunists, carpetbaggers, people coming in, trying to find a place for themselves. Susan, you and I were talking before we went live about credible news sources. And I asked you where you get your news other than your pendulum, and how can we sort through what's true and what's not true? And I'd be interested in hearing from viewers as well about what they feel are credible news sources.
So yeah, if you guys have a credible news source, please put it in the chat. Let's all kind of group this. For me, I really still am on Twitter, which I refuse to call X. And that's because I can actually literally talk to Lisa Rubin, who's on MSNBC, right? I talk to the people straight away, straight eye to eye, who are on these TV shows. And I feel like I can talk to them without the filter of the corporate. But I'm not saying MSNBC is not trustworthy. I'm just saying I cut my cable. So basically, I don't even have access to that. And I'm probably glad I do. Yeah, David Pakman is good. Actually, he's good. There's a lot of Midas Touch is good too. NPR. And I told you guys before, and here's some good ones too. I told you guys before, if you feel like the news is wrong, call them out. Like I was telling Alan before we went on. So there is good news. There is a ceasefire that's been announced through the Palestinians and Israel. It just happened. But a few hours ago, somebody that I follow on Twitter, which is the Daily Beans, and she does a podcast and she's a professional journalist. She said there's a ceasefire and she posted an article. But what I love about Democrats is they call each other out. So people read that article and said, no, this is old. What are you doing posting this old article? Because it's not like her. She wouldn't normally do that. And then like an hour or two later, I see that it was indeed true, but she posted a wrong source about it. We have to fact check each other. We have to help. Don't be mean. Don't be disrespectful. Just say, what are your sources? Where did you get that? And if you ask me, I'm just going to call 1-800-SPIRIT GUIDES and press 1 or press 2 for information. So here on the screen is Midas Touch, Brian Tyler Colin, David Packman, Rebel HQ, and so many more. Yeah, really good ones. And here, and I really like this woman, Keith Oberman, Elizabeth Cronice McLaughlin, the Daily Beans. Elizabeth Cronice McLaughlin, I showed you, shared her on my community page. She does a video every day. She's an ex-New York prosecutor. If you want to know the facts, she's going to give you the facts. She calls out misinformation. She's kind of crazy. I mean, she's kind of like big energy, but she has the facts.
And Heather Cox Richardson.
And Heather Cox Richardson. If you guys are not, if you're not subscribed to Heather Cox Richardson, you Google her, Heather Cox, C-O-X Richardson. And you can sign up for free to her newsletter, Letters to an American. She is a history professor, but so every day she kind of gives you the news rundown and she kind of mixes it with history, which really helps because when you see, hey, we've been here before, this isn't scary because this happened 20, 30, 50, 100 years ago. It just gives you perspective.
You see the patterns.
Yeah.
Which I think is.
You can see the patterns. You sure can.
Just want to put this up, Susan. Will Trump be able to postpone this is from Jack. Will Trump be able to postpone March 25th hush money trial? He said he has presidential immunity. And when do we expect the ruling on that?
On this?
I thought on the immunity is a separate issue.
This is a different thing. This, I think that you guys help me out. Is this the Stormy Daniels hush money case? There are so many cases I need to get out, like a whiteboard behind me with, figure it out.
I believe the 25th is the New York City, the New York
They're
City
saying
trial.
It's Stormy Daniels. It's Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
Which is criminal. It's a criminal case, I want to say. The judge said no, they're not pushing it back. I don't think he's going to push it back. But something that Alan does really well is he encapsulates the big picture. So you guys, look, this is a lot of things coming at Trump at once, and it's going to endanger and criminalize a lot of people. So watch what happens. It's sort of like when I don't know why, because this is not my house. And I'm telling spirit guides, it's not my house. But if you moved the refrigerator and all these roaches came out from under, well, for one thing, I'd be moved out. I'd be staying at the La Quinta. I wouldn't be in my house. But it's like that. These roaches are going to start just flowing everywhere, meaning people, case in point, there's a guy that showed up on CNN today who was person number 5 in the boxes investigation. Remember the boxes being carried on the plane? He's person number 5. Eileen Cannon has said, maybe we'll make everybody public. Instead of person number 5, that man is going to have a name. That man called CNN and said, I want to do a video because I want this out. I want it out. Holy moly. They're all jumping ship. They're all freaking out. Okay, what's this say?
Colleen said Trump's team, she's clarifying the question that Jack brought up. Trump's team had filed a motion in the New York case for hush money to postpone until the immunity case verdict from the Supreme Court is. And I don't think they're not going to wait, is my sense.
No, they're not going to wait. They're not going to wait. And it's, I don't know. So let me ask you, if you can put your spiritual hazmat suit on and get in Trump's energy, and all these people are, like flipping, doing, whatever they're doing, getting out of Congress. I mean, that's not trustworthy. When Ken Buck says I'm out, all of a sudden, can you trust him? Does he have your back? Is he a MAGA person? Do I need to worry about him? Right. So that makes me feel some kind of way like I'm not supported. So what do you feel like Trump may do? Because I just feel like the pressure must be incredible on him
I'm
right
in
now.
his energy now, and I really, really, really am jonesing for a cheeseburger.
You regret being in his energy. Yeah, a cheeseburger.
I believe he's highly curated. He's highly, highly contained.
So he may not know.
I think they keep him in La La Land, and I don't think he knows.
That totally makes sense.
I think it's becoming worse. So there are handlers that feed him news. They trot him out on stage. It's starting to slip. You and I have both talked about a public incident that can't be unseen. It could be in a courtroom. The problem is he doesn't understand what's happening because he doesn't understand. He's not capable of understanding, but he also hasn't been kept abreast of things. So when they trot him out in a courtroom, there's a danger that he's going to act out.
That's what I got.
Because he's going to not believe what's happening.
Yeah. He's not going to be able to comprehend it.
He's not going to comprehend it.
Yeah.
So I think all of this is going to be happening fast and furious. And it's like those unfortunate forest fires that leap from one forest to the next, and they're almost impossible to put out. And I think we're coming, the 25th of March, I believe, is a solar eclipse. The 25th.
The lunar.
Is the lunar?
The lunar is March. The solar is April.
Okay.
So do you think, so this is getting, maybe it's just me. Well, you know what? I've seen him having the potential for a stroke. And right now, I feel like my head is like in a vice. Like that, I just feel like, you know what I mean? Like that's what I feel. Like when I go into his energy, like my jaws are hurting right here, like my head. So I agree with you. I think he doesn't know. I don't think he knows. I think he knows this much of what's happening, but even that much is too much for him to.
I think he's a useful idiot, and he's been a useful idiot.
You're right.
And and then once he's no longer a useful idiot, because you see just the incredible following he has. It's like the Pied Piper, and yet the emperor has no clothes. So they want to continue to carry that along until the election. But it's all the wheels are already coming off.
Yeah, just like that Boeing airplane.
Yeah.
Sadly.
By the way, hold that thought.
Hey, Kevin, Healing Medium, how are you? And while you're looking that up, I think that's how I feel about Putin. He's not being told everything that's happening either. He's a useful idiot too. He's in an echo chamber. They really have a lot in common. Okay, we're switching gears to something even more serious, maybe. Yeah, Jupiter rules says we have an astrologer in the house. Hey, girl, hey. Jupiter rules his 8th house of death. I don't know. Sounds good to me. Okay. So Yogi Toast.
Entertainment purposes only.
Thank you. The Boeing whistleblower found dead. They are saying it was suicide. Was it? Don't buy it. Well, they're saying it was a self-inflicted wound. That's the official thing right now. We talked about this a little bit. I feel bad for the guy. I really do, because I feel like
incredible psychological pressure.
That's what I'm getting. Incredible psychological pressure. Look, guys, I'm not going to rule out suicide because his life is ruined. They ruined his life. I think they manufactured things about him. They manufactured fake video, fake audio. They were going to ruin him. They were going to ruin his family, ruin his life. And he felt like, I'm the problem. If I remove myself, then my family's going to be okay. Now, is that suicide, or is that, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it is suicide, but it's because he stood up and said, this isn't right. This is happening, and people need to be aware of it. I don't know. What are you getting, Alan? Are you getting the same thing or something different? Hey, Stone Spirit.
I get that there will be, we just shocking revelations, and that all sounds so National Enquirer. But I think that we're in sort of a National Enquirer time now, where things that were unbelievable are true. I think that will come out, and again, it will be part of a downward slide of the power of
yes,
what corporations, special interests, big money to control events and outcomes.
Yeah.
And the best laid plans, I think, of many of these folks where it's been business as usual, both politically and otherwise, I think that it's harder to hide now. I think there's already a clear sense of what happened there that's being gathered. They have to proceed very, very carefully. I think the threads, for entertainment purposes only, I think the threads lead to some interesting places.
Yeah. I get a cover up. So whether it literally, if he killed himself, it was because of the pressure, and that is coercion, that could have been blackmail. I don't know if you can thread that directly to a actual case against someone, but it should be a case against somebody, because we, what it means, though, the guides are saying, is we have to protect our whistleblowers. This is why we just talked about this guy who was guy number 5 carrying the boxes. And Eileen Cannon is saying, we're going to publish all of your names. And this guy's coming out saying, hey, it was me. It's me. Right. And I didn't see anything. I didn't know what was in the boxes. I was doing what I was told. So this guy's trying to protect himself. You know what I mean? He really was. He came out to the public and said, if anybody takes me out, basically it's what he's saying, right? Like, this is what I know. So don't nobody come for me.
So, watch this space, because I believe there's going to be more. And, so much of this is building to a crescendo in a way. It's just one more Jenga block. All these things that are mounting, or dominoes, or whatever you play. There was a fascinating question. I think this is interesting. Susie Brundage asks, if you have enough time, how do you explain the tremendous difference between information received by psychics, etc., who are anti-Trumpers and pro-Trumpers? And I was noodling around on YouTube, as I do from time to time. And there was a title about Trump, Trump's election. And it was a young astrologer who talked about how his chart was such that he would be reelected in the election. So that got me thinking: are we in a echo chamber? Are we just talking to each other and believing all the same stuff? So then I did hear another astrologer talk about, I think it was Andre, who talked about how that same information can be misused. And that with more experience, you're able to better ferret out the truth of a chart. But how would you address that, Susan?
Well, I'd go back to what I said earlier about the Democrats self-policing. Okay, so if I've been on YouTube 3-4 years, if I was telling you guys things that weren't happening, because we've had elections. I mean, I predicted Biden winning, Warnock, all these things, right? Like, I'm not right all the time. None of us are. But if I wasn't right enough, you guys wouldn't follow me. I mean, yeah, I'm funny and I look goofy. That's maybe some of the followers, but also people want to feel like you're right sometimes, right? So That's the first thing. Are these Trump psychics, have they been right? What is their record? Like, seriously, all my political videos are on YouTube. You can go back and look at them, any of them, right? So number one, what's their track record? Number two, the spirit guides. So I had this psychic that was my mentor, and she was local, and I just worshiped the ground she walked on. I just thought she was amazing. She was amazing. And then right when Trump got into office, she started saying things that were actually, frankly, racist. She was hinting at them, hinting at, I shouldn't date someone that had a certain kind of hair quality. And I'm like, huh? What? What are you talking about? And I kept asking her, I'm like, I don't even understand, like redheads. I mean, what are you talking about? She's like, no. Like the coarseness of their hair. I mean, it was so scary. And I remember that was the time where I had to sit down. Like, I was like, I literally, my hero was a crazy racist person who then became a Trumper. So yeah, she's very good, but she let her ego get in the way. She let her ego get in the way.
Yeah, and we've also confronted the lesson about personality versus abilities, that there are people who can have psychic abilities and they are connected to spirit in some way, but their personality may take that in a different direction, or they may try and make the facts fit their political construct.
That's right. That's exactly right. These Trumpers that are spiritual, they're not right. They're not right. I tell you guys, if a Republican's going to win, I tell you. That's why I started telling you, call 1-800-SPIRIT Guides and press 1 for complaints, because I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I know what you want to hear. It's the same thing I want to hear, but I tell you what I get. And if I think we're going to lose, I'm going to tell you we're going to lose. Right. So that's the difference, right? If they're never going to be honest with you, then they've got an agenda. And
Azalea says, I follow a lot of psychics and card readers, and I look for the consensus among readers and psychics. And I think just as we were talking about news sources, use your noggin, use your discretion, use your critical thinking, what feels right.
I do the same thing. When you guys tell me somebody else got the same thing, I feel better. I feel better about it, because if 3 or 4 of us are kind of having the similar thing, then we're all getting the same energy. Then the energy is strong enough to manifest. Yes, that's right. That's right. That tarot reader on Fox, that was hilarious, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about free will? Spiritual Sean wants to know, what about free will? Honey, I don't know what you mean. We all have free will. Absolutely, we have free will. I don't know what you mean by that. They have free will to say whatever they want. If they're wrong all the time, then they're probably not connecting into the right energy. But yes, we all have free will. Absolutely.
All right. Let's see. Jackie Self asks, is the discharge petition for Ukraine, etc., that began at 10:30 a.m. today going to get enough vote signatures to go around Mike Johnson?
Here's the problem. There's a bill in the Senate that the Democrats like, believe it or not. They like the bill in the Senate. The bill in the House, it's not that great. So, but the bill in the House, there's 6 Republicans who want to do it. So we could probably do the bill in the House. Now, you might say, why don't we pass the bill in the House and have the Senate sort it out? Or why don't we, you know what I mean? I mean, the whole point is the two bodies come together for one bill that they send to Biden. One has really got some kind of capitulation in it that Biden doesn't like. So the answer is, yes, we can go around Speaker Johnson. The question is, will we for the bad bill, so to speak, or will we somehow get the good bill? And is a bad bill better than no bill? That might be where we are too. What do you think?
I heard yes, but first I'm just astounded by your grasp of the arcane process here.
I just, the There's two things that I looked into today. One was Buck, because there was the backstory, and the other was this bill, because people were complaining again on Twitter. I get my news 60 characters at a time. It's pretty quick, and I go right to the source. And I love what I love about Democrats is they say you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot put stuff out there that's not true. They will call you out on it, and I really appreciate that. So does it happen on occasion? Yes. But for the most part, you can pretty much count on the information that you get.
So what does a yes mean? The yes I got, that means that that somehow, I guess I should answer that question myself. It feels like by the grace of someone, it's going to move forward. And I'm not sure if there was coercion or, again, people throwing in the towel. That's what I get. Those who are opposed to this, keeping their powder dry for another day, agreeing to this.
Let me ask it to you this way. Do you think the Senate bill is going to get through, or the House bill is going to get through?
I think they're going to find a mechanism to get it through the House as well.
But there are two different versions. The energy of the Senate bill or the energy of the House bill? Or you think it's going to be it could be a mixture, which would be the best thing, probably.
I think it comes down to yet another compromise.
Okay. All right. So the House bill. Okay.
And for some reason, then the Republicans are allowed to claim that as a victory.
That's exactly what's going to happen. That is exactly what's going to happen. So on one hand, I'm channeling right now, so I can't be too mad. But like 2 hours from now, probably going to be mad. On one hand, it feels like Democrats capitulate all the time. We had to capitulate on getting this funding bill, on getting this last, let's pay our bills bill out. We had to capitulate. The Democrats had to be the sober. We gave in so much that the Wall Street Journal gave that budget thing like 5 stars. We basically gave them a Republican bill. And the Democrats had to vote it because the Republicans didn't even have enough votes to vote it for themselves. The Democrats had to vote to get a Republican bill passed. This is the same thing with Ukraine. It just pisses me off. It really does. And at what point do Democrats stop saying that something's better than nothing? And this is what I said to you. Something for Ukraine might be better than nothing. But meanwhile, we're dumbing ourselves down. We're allowing the bullies to push us down to where we're a shadow of ourselves. Now, I don't really think that's going to happen because I think that Biden has the long view. And I think Biden knows the Republicans are driving themselves off a cliff, and we just need to govern. Right now, we need to take what we can get because we've got to keep the lights on in this country. We got to keep things moving. So I think Biden is playing the long game. I think Biden knows once these Republicans go off the cliff, then the Democrats can get together, and then we can really start passing bills that are really more a better agenda for the United States.
And I think arming Ukraine is worth a compromise. In this case, something is better than nothing.
That's where we are, guys. That's where we are.
Yeah. Here's a Transcend M asks, hello, Susan and Alan. Hello, Transcend M. Was the Turtle sister-in-law, McConnell's sister-in-law, actually, and her death, was it actually an accident? I didn't think much of it when I read about it. And then didn't he announce his resignation a week later?
Yeah. Well, he stepped down from the speaker. The thing that I read about it, and here's the thing, right? Like, I don't watch a lot of news, but my guides tend to like highlight things or put things in front of me that are important for me, right? The thing that's really haunting about this is that lady was on the phone. I mean, she had just left. It's a big compound, right? And so she had just left the house where there was some kind of dinner or something. She was on the phone with them in the water, calling for help. That's very haunting. the problem is, this is what we talked about before we went live. Everything looks like a conspiracy theory. Everything looks like it's conspiracy theory. But the problem is things are so crazy right now that I think literally 75% of these things are true and 25% are conspiracy theories. And you can't even figure out what is which, like the Boeing guy, the Boeing whistleblower, right? So, and then on the other hand, what good am I doing? Am I really being a help to humanity and society by saying that it was a murder? Is that really help anybody? Does that, honestly, truly, I'm asking, does that help anybody? The sheriff is investigating it. He said it's a criminal investigation. He said, this is not normal. This is not an accident. So, and this is in Texas, right? Like Blanco, Texas, which is, it's not the reddest place in the tech, but I mean, we have a different scale, right? than everybody else, but you know, it's red. So
I'm getting, almost something that it's to be, you know, you'll know when you need to know kind of energy. They're not, I'm not getting a definitive yes or no. And I think there's a sense of the danger of this constant appetite of the sky is falling, which is not at all to minimize these things that are happening, but it can be debilitating to be seeing conspiracies around every corner.
Because and yes, she was driving a Tesla. And yes, they can be remote controlled and all that stuff, but theoretically they have a manual door opener, but water pushes the doors in. And if she didn't know how to get out of that situation, you know what I mean? If she didn't have something to break the window, if she didn't know to let the car fill up and then open the door once it equalized, I mean, who's going to be thinking like this? Who knows these things? Obviously she didn't. So, you know, I don't, but I agree with you. The problem, what Alan is saying, the problem is when we lose hope. If we think it's all rigged and everything, you know, the people with the power can off people and it's all rigged, that's when you lose hope. And that's when you stop showing up at the voting polls. And that's when you stop becoming an active participant in our democracy. And the message is don't give up hope. We are not there. We're not there. We're not anywhere near there. I still see Biden winning. I still see us getting the House and getting the Senate. And not only do I, but so does Alan, so does Kevin Healing. Kevin, I don't know if Kevin does politics, but Kevin Loving Vibration does. I've told you guys, when you start seeing us get nervous and my background changes and there's like a picture of cows, you know, like it looks like France. Be worried. Be worried. If I'm talking about visas and passports, then be worried. But I'm good.
You know, I debated whether to even include that question in our discussion because again, it feeds the sense of what we're. Of course, these are good questions and we're curious, but how? Perhaps more importantly, how do we hold our center through these times? How do we hold on to our sanity? How do we use critical thinking? How do we stay centered in this swirl of constant news, constant news cycles?
And it's only going to get worse, you guys. And I think this is what did you say before we went live? You gave me the sense that if you're hanging on the edge of every news article, then you're really hooked up to that roller coaster. You're going up and down, and it's pretty crazy.
It's not a nice day after day of that, and it feeds the neurotic sense that of being, again, just stay centered. I do think that these things are going to come out. I think there are going to be this stuff is going to be revealed, but in the meantime, chop wood, carry water, go about your business.
Keep your vibration high.
Yes.
Hey, if you don't keep your vibration high, as toxic of all this stuff is, and I did that healing online with Sybil, I was like, whoa, our chakras are messed up from this toxic, just constant toxic barrage of negativity and losing hope. So go to your favorite energy healer, go on YouTube for free and do a cleansing. keep yourself well. Thank you, dear.
And I just want to put this on. We'll get back to Biden winning, but it's designed to addict people.
That's true. Elimination portal. That's true. And it does. I think it does addict us, right? Yeah. It does. It addicts us to that trauma cycle.
The reoccurring trauma, the trauma cycle. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
And we are not hopeless. We are not helpless. We're not hopeless. We're going to vote. We're going to vote in too big in numbers. Trump is using our own things now. He says, vote in too big in numbers to rig. You know, it's like, it's crazy, right? It's just literally crazy making.
If you let it.
Yeah. Yeah. My, you guys, my membership, if you just go to my website, which is SusanLynnMedium.com, you can find whatever I'm doing there. You can find my membership there.
And I think it would be a good time to remind everyone about how this movie ends, Susan. with Biden winning.
Yeah, with Biden winning, and us having the look. We just talked to you guys. Some of y'all probably came in late, but we just said the Republicans are going to be out of the election cycle in a big way for many election cycles. Okay, like many election cycles, maybe 3, 4. So that's the midterms in 26, the presidential in 28, the 32. We're talking out. Look, they're giving Laura Trump their money. No, none of those Republicans are going to get any money. They're not going to have any money to run ads. They're not going to have money to pay for their local Republican headquarters. You know, think about it. The Democrats are always scrounging money, like literally we're like looking under our seat cushions to get some kind of rental. And the Republicans often in red states have year-long leases that they're able to afford. Honey, that's over. That money's going straight into Trump's, you know, so that the Republicans are really going to be sad shape.
And Susan, what could go wrong with making Laura Trump, his daughter-in-law, head of the RNC? I mean,
well, it's like you said, or somebody said, he fired all these people. The first thing he did was fire all these people. You know what I mean? He said, you're going to have to reapply. If you're not suitably MAGA, you got to go. So,
and you know how long that's going to take to staff up? These are people who knew how to run an office.
Yeah, no,
it's
maybe he's going to outsource it to Russia.
Ooh. All right, your turn.
Oh my
God. So Trump is Biden will be reelected.
He will be.
Did. You pick one, but I did have one for my fellow Wisconsinites. But
well, go ahead, because you guys, when I did my last question and answer, the spirit guides, the Wisconsinites, you guys were really not doing well up there. I don't know who Robin Voss is recalled in Wisconsin. Who is Robin Voss? Does anybody know? Do you know?
He's a I read about him and in the Journal Sentinel, and he is a public Republican operative. He's been a one of the bad players. My sense is, and if someone can write in, if one of my fellow Wisconsinites can write in, my sense is he's going to leave along with many of these other Republicans who are in other locations in the country who realize that the jig's up. They lost. It's not coming together. It's not going to come together, and they're not going to go down with the Trump ship. He's a smart guy, but he was part of the efforts to I believe he might be Speaker of the state.
The State House.
State House.
Do you feel like he could be investigated for something? Because I feel like he might be investigated. I don't know about indicted or convicted, but I think he's being investigated.
I think he's got some shite on him. I think that there's enough to go around there, which is sad.
Oh, man.
In our state. What? I think
there's enough to go around. Wow.
There is. There was just abysmal behavior on the part of
Well, on all of these people, it's like they decided that the laws don't apply to them, so act accordingly. You know, that's
But
basically
it's all come undone. It's all come apart.
it's all come
It's
apart.
come to nothing is the phrase again. It's come to nothing, except if you have exposure for being indicted and
That's right.
tried.
And then you're in trouble.
Yeah. So I think that Robin Vos, it's VOS, I believe, Cheryl Bielik, he will be a footnote in history.
A smudgy one.
A smudgy one.
All right. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Kia Star. And thank you, Candy. You guys are very sweet. Okay. So I just want to talk briefly. Somebody did ask about it. I think I started, but I don't know. The energy's kind of like a little weird here. I can do it. Fani Willis. Okay, you guys, I felt bad. I saw that judge, and I was like, I don't like this guy's energy. He did not like Fani Willis. His energy was not neutral. Okay, I'm just telling you right now what I saw. His energy was not neutral. Then I found out today he was an employee of hers, number one. Number two, he's Federalist Society. No wonder he doesn't like her. So he's about to come out and say whether or not she can stay on the case. I think she will. In the past, I've given her about a 75 to 80% chance that she would stay on the case. He's supposed to be ruling this week. Today is Tuesday, I think. What do you feel? Do you feel like Fani's going to stay on the case?
I feel like she's going to stay on the case, and there'll be some sort of censure or something that is.
Yeah, I think so too.
She'll take because as long as she can stay on the case. But there's something that just seems unfortunate and maybe more heavy-handed than it need be.
Yes,
is what I get. But she, and I think you have said in the past that she will be loaded for bear.
She's going to be loaded for bear. But
not that she wasn't already.
It does bring her energy down. She's tired. This wore her out. It was meant to do that. It was meant to drag everything out. Same way the Supreme Court drug out there. Everything is meant to slow the cases against Trump down. Everything is designed for that. If they can't just out and out rule in such a completely bogus way, then the least they can do is slow it down. So yeah, I agree with you. But I do think she is going to be loaded for bear. But I think she's also going to be careful because she saw the machinations. She saw things she didn't think were going to be happening or possible that gave her pause.
When you say she saw things, was that a period at the end? I think that was a period at the end.
It was a period. Like, I don't want to get into it, but yeah, she saw connections. So there is a pretty, I think a pretty evident connection between Trump, even though there's an evident connection in Trump, even though this isn't about Trump. This is about her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, whatever, and his ex-wife, right? That's where they got this information. But there's a pretty evident connection to Trump. At least the legal eagles think so. And this was a hit job. What the guides just said to me right now, this was a hit job on Fani Willis. Maybe not a bang bang hit job, but a character assassination. And
you're saying that's rich. That the fact that they were focusing on her and real or perceived misdeeds is rich, given where that came from.
It's very rich. It's very rich. And look, the guides want to talk about this guy, H-U-R, right? The guy that the special prosecutor that investigated Biden and came out with this report that said Biden was a senile old man who wouldn't do well on the stand because he couldn't handle the pressure. I mean, seriously, right? So today, what's weird, this is all this stuff happening at once. I'm telling you guys, it's going to cook our brains. We've got to, after this video, I want you guys to release everything, do some deep breathing.
Deep cleansing breath.
Deep, yeah. So what's interesting is this guy, because do you guys, what I read is he stepped down from his job, which a lot of people saw. I think Kevin Loving Vibrations, so other people saw him leaving. I don't remember if I did, but I know other people saw him leaving. He stepped down so that he could publicly testify today to Congress. Well, guess what? There's not a super majority of Republicans. There's a lot of Democrats. Well, the Democrats, Ted Lieu, he ripped that guy into pieces. He said, it says here in the transcripts that you said that Biden has a photographic memory. Did you say that? And the guy's like, yes, that's in the transcript. So then the Republican presiding said, we don't need to be releasing these transcripts. Why are we releasing? It's totally backfired. It blew up in their faces. So yeah, these things are happening to Fani Willis. Yes, you see it's a hit job. You can see it. This man wrote Biden has a photographic memory. Yet the thing that he said publicly in his report was different. That's a hit job, you guys. These are becoming known, publicized.
And I think they're faltering. I mean, there are more and more and more missteps. And I think that as the whole MAGA effort slides downhill, there are fewer and fewer people willing to take a bullet. One more Wisconsinite. Pam Pierce, it's very true. At one time, Wisconsin was the most liberal state in the union. We will rise again, Pam.
I know. I saw you guys I feel bad for you because us red states, we've been under subterfuge and behind enemy lines for so many decades. But you guys are feeling it now. You're feeling the attack on your freedoms. You're feeling the attack on your values and your communities. And it really is hard. Okay. What do you think, Alan? The energy around Jack Smith?
He's a machine.
Maybe he's an alien.
He's a machine, and he is impeccable. I guess I think he's pretty ironclad. I don't see any way of getting. There are no chinks in the armor, and
None.
He's watched very carefully things that have happened to Fani Willis and others, and I think he is more and more scaring the Trumpers because it's going to become more and more the measures they're going to take to subvert justice and the law are going to become more extreme and more desperate. And that's what I worry about. As people's backs are against the wall, as judgments go against them, that's when we could see things acting out. Maybe with some civil unrest and other things happening. But I think the sheer number of arrows that you've always talked about coming at Trump is he can't get away from it. So I think Jack Smith feels I've got great cases. I just have to be able to get there to run them.
He's going to do it. He's going to do it. Thank you, Lois. He's going to do it. I'm being called. When you go into Jack Smith's energy, he understands this is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. He doesn't care about how long it takes for him to get his target. What he cares about is when he aims, he doesn't miss.
Yes. That's
what he cares about. So he's not going to be rushed. He's not going to be, distracted. He's not. He's literally focused. He's laser focused. And I think he's quite well protected. I can't say 100%, but I think he's quite well protected. So I think he's going to be fine. What a glorious gift he has been to us, right? So I'm grateful every day for Jack Smith.
He's like
for Alvin Bragg, and for Tish James, and for Fani Willis, and for E. Jean Carroll. It's not just one; it's all of these people. So if somebody falters, the next person steps into the breach.
Jack Smith is like a sniper, someone who can sit in a tree immobile and wait for that moment to take somebody out. And I know that's a rather intense analogy, but there is this element of impeccable marksmanship and patience.
Wow. This is a really good, I mean, I always felt this way. Julianne Jones says it's getting to the point that I want to know what political party I'm dealing with in any vendor, manufacturer, et cetera. I've been that way in the past, but honestly, most businesses are Republican. It's very hard to find a Democrat business. But I think what we could do, and what we perhaps the guides are saying we will do, is look at that business and see what their donations are. If they're donating to a specific candidate we don't like, a specific cause. So regardless of whether they're Democrat or Republican, where are you putting your money? You know, if they're hedging their bets and doing 50% Democrat, 50% Republican, no problem. But if they're donating to a Republican cause that you particularly find egregious, or a particular candidate you find egregious, I think that's well within your wheelhouse to make those decisions. Yeah. This is a good one. How do you think E. Jean Carroll's going to sue again? So he's already defamed her, I think, twice.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I think he's waiting. I think her attorney is waiting. Like there seems like a number, like 4 times, like there's a certain number, and then she's going to do it. To me, that's what I get.
And is it Roberta Kaplan? Her
yeah,
attorney?
Thank you. Robbie Kaplan.
Robbie, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Very smart woman. Again, one of the consort of women who are going to bring him down. Yes.
E. Jean Carroll has done immeasurable damage to him. You guys do not think she hasn't. She has done immeasurable damage to him, the guides are saying. So now so he got his bond. He got Chubb, which is an insurance company, which he has connections to. He gave one of the founders or the president or somebody of Chubb Insurance, he gave them an appointment. So he's got a connection. But the question that people are asking is, Chubb is an insurance company. They must have gotten this underwritten by somebody. Somebody had to put the money up. Who put the money up? That's the question. Who did Chubb get the underwriting from? Was it Elon Musk? Was it Saudi Arabia, like who funded his son-in-law? Was it? I don't think it was Russia, because Russia's under so much financial scrutiny. I don't think it was them. I don't think they have the money. I just don't know. They would only be doing the one bond. And that's another point. Trump needs more than just one bond. He's got a lot of things coming at him. And Chubb says, we're just doing the one. What does he do next? Who does he go to? Where does he get the money? Because there's more and more cases piling up here.
I think from the Middle East.
You're getting Middle East, yeah.
I think it could be a consortium, but people again, he's becoming too hot to handle. Shell Oil Company. Yeah.
You know, the problem with his buildings, guys, is he doesn't own Trump Tower. He only owns a certain part of it, and he really truly just owns his name. He does not own the things that we all think he owns. So he's in big dire straits as far as finances go. That's why Laura took over the Republican the party. Think about it, you guys. Think about it. They're going to drain that. They're going to suck it dry. It's like the guides are calling it a hostile takeover. Like when a corporation takes over a weaker corporation and then fires everybody, drains the value out of the company, and then tosses it aside.
Do you think he's going to drain Hungary?
Viktor Orban is a real issue, right? Because he did what Trump tried to do. He went in, that was a democratic country. He attacked the courts. He attacked the media. He attacked journalists. He basically did exactly what Trump tried to do. But let me tell you why this gives me hope. Because that's a smaller country. We're a big country, and we're so decentralized. It's not that easy, as Trump figured out, right? Even Kemp, even Pence, even Cheney and Kinzinger, they all stood up and said, no, we're not doing this. So there's so many checks and balances in our country that I don't think we're going to become that quickly anyway, the way he did Hungary. Do you think they have money? I mean, because I'm not sure that he has money. I don't think he has any money. I just think he has.
I think he wants something from Trump. He has his hand out. And I think, again, for some reason, the Saudis, that's walking around cash for them.
Yes, that's walking around cash.
For entertainment purposes only. And I believe that there are still deals going on there.
Yeah.
But again, it feels like it's just not going to come together the way they're planning. It feels like they are now realizing this whole mess is going to crumble, or has a likelihood of crumbling. That's when they're going to pull out civil unrest, is my sense.
Yeah, but you know what? I was upset about this, but I see the error in my ways now. When the Jan 6 committee, took all that time. First of all, it took forever to have the Jan 6 committee, and then the Jan 6 committee, and then it took forever for Garland to do anything to get Smith right. But it really was brilliant to go after all those militias and put all those Jan 6 people in prison. It was brilliant, because basically what we did was we arrested their army. So I do think that there's going to be civil unrest on both sides, to be honest with you, on the Democrats and on the Republic. There's going to be civil unrest. But I think that the ability to mount a real problem against us is much less now than it was before. And two, what the guys are saying is what they always say to you guys is, hey, if the economy's good, there's a lot less people that are going to be out there protesting, because they're doing their thing. They're making a little more money, or they're doing whatever. I know not everybody is, but overall, the economy's doing pretty well.
Oh, man, nothing is going their way, is it? The Trump way. I think we're going to be seeing this more and more and more. Susan, do you see him trying to flee the country? I know you've spoken on this, but it feels like it changes.
Well, what do you think? If you feel like it's changed, are you feeling like it's getting, because I think you're right that he's very curated. The information that he receives is very curated. So he doesn't really know how bad it is. So what do you think? Do you think that's changing?
I think there'll be an attempt that'll be stymied. And again, there are things that are going to be more public. And I think that it'll be stopped or snuffed. I don't mean that's the wrong term to use. It will be stymied, but people will know that he tried to escape. It feels like there are any number of doors that could be opened. There are a lot of choices here. We talked about free will earlier. And I think that different people are going to react in different ways to what's going on, whether they're saving their own skins or going state's witness, or just trying to escape or getting out, whatever form that takes. So I think we're going to see different people reacting in different ways. And I think his intention may be to stay and become president. I believe he still thinks he can win. But when he's, I don't know. I think it's going to be such a mishmash between and you've never really seen clearly, or many haven't, about what is actually going to stop him. Is it an illness? Is it is he put away in a padded cell? Is he held at Gitmo?
That's the $1 million question. All of us, I think the majority of us, see the end of the movie, which is Democrats win, Democrats win, Democrats win. Presidency, the House, the Senate. And and we see that the Republican nominee for president is AWOL, missing, not available. I don't even really see Nikki Haley making a real believable run at it. I don't see DeSantis making an even less believable run at it. Vivek, I don't see anybody making a real run at it. It's almost like a defeat. Like, it's just like, when the team just gives up and says, we give up, we're defeated. But I don't know why. I don't know why that is. The options, in my opinion, are he has a stroke, he crosses over, he's in such bad physical health that we all know that he cannot run, like he's in the ICU or something. And then third is that he could plea insanity. If he really thought that he was up against the wall and he could not get out, like he couldn't flee, he couldn't run away, he would plead insanity. And here's why. Because these people that get to this level of power, think about Bibi Netanyahu. He was disappeared for a while, and then he came back, and he's actually got to be a leader again. Think about Roger Stone, who was around with Nixon, and then he comes back and has a power play. So these people that have this kind of power, they understand that if they can just stay alive, literally, they may be able to rise to power again. So he thinks, if I say I'm not fit, I'm mentally unwell, he really does think this because he's mentally unwell. He thinks that somebody's going to, like SEAL Team 6 Russia style, is going to break in and break him out, and then he's going to take over the throne. Okay, so that really is one option that he could literally do to himself, plead insanity like a lot of criminals try to do. Although in this case, I think the judge might be like, yep, that's correct, Yeah,
I don't know that it's written yet. I think that there are so many movable pieces in this. It's a very active 5D chessboard right now.
He's just not there. He's just not there, you guys. And I know you guys can't see it, but did anybody think Ken Buck would say, I'm retiring and now I'm retiring next week? I mean, did anybody think Tucker Carlson would get fired? You guys, we are in the land of the unbelievable, really and truly. So, just try to not get too connected to things so that you get like energetic whiplash.
I'm going to post this question, which might take us in a more positive direction, possibly. We've talked about Kamala Harris assuming the presidency at some point in a second Biden term. But the question is, when would a woman be elected on her own merits?
You know what? I think a strong woman is going to run. I don't think it's Kamala Harris. I think it's somebody else. And I think that she has a really strong chance of winning. Like, she presents as really, really like almost like an Obama in the sense of like bringing all that energy and having that goodwill. I feel like that could be in 28 or really 32. Probably 32. 28 still a mess to me. 28 feels like a mess. Like, I don't know why. Not bad mess, but like not settled. Things haven't gotten settled yet. I mean, think about the Republican Party imploding into a million pieces. And we really need a functioning two-party system. We don't want to have a place with just the Democrats. So that's not going to work too well to be out of balance like that. Okay. So I think 32. What do you think?
It's going to be a protracted divorce, a messy divorce.
Between who? You mean the Republicans and?
Yeah. And in some cases, the Republicans, but I just think that it's going to be like it's not going to be a Hallmark movie between now and when the Republicans finally get their act or whatever, however they're being reconstituted. I think even 32 might be a little ambitious. I think there will be someone who was on the national stage then. I think there is a woman who people are talking about as presidential material, and she may take a run for it then. And go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I think it's someone new. I don't know that if we know her, it's I mean, Obama in a way came out of nowhere, and it has that same.
That's true.
Same element.
True. This woman has that same energy of bursting on the scene. You know, like that kind of bursting on the scene energy. Yeah, Taylor Swift, that would be hilarious. Yeah, I was getting Gretchen Whitmer, but I think that she's well known. I mean, so she could do it, so could AOC, but what Alan and I are picking up is somebody completely new, like a really new, a fresh face.
You want to pick one?
Boebert is polling very poorly. I love that. You just made my night. Do you see Boebert winning? Do you see Boebert winning her seat, that new district, Kim Buck's old seat?
I think I think there's a possibility, but then she would leave almost as soon as she took her seat, or perhaps even before, because of legal issues. But I also think that there could be, and this is choice. People have choices. There could be yet another stunt, a very public stunt, that puts people off her completely.
Yeah. Right now I see her winning, but I agree with Alan. I feel like she just barely makes it over the finish line, and then the truck hits her. Sorry, but that's
for entertainment purposes only.
That's what I saw. Like, you know how you're running and you get to the finish line, and then here comes the, pizza delivery truck. Yeah. So I think she's not in power long, you guys. And that's exactly indicative of what we're going to be seeing. People winning and then getting removed or stepping down, like just all this flux, constant flux.
And it feels like Colorado right now is almost a microcosm of the confusion and chaos.
That's true.
In the United States.
Yeah, that's true.
So
everybody knows, well, maybe you don't know, I love Jasmine Crockett. She's out of Dallas. If anybody is not following her on social media, you're doing yourself a disservice. She's hilarious. She's sharp. She's freaking sharp-witted. She just slices and dices Republicans for like fun. Like she's fantastic, and she's pretty new. I think she was a prosecutor, but she's pretty new on in Congress. And Dallas, you guys, go Dallas. Didn't see that coming from y'all, but I'm happy to see it.
How about this one?
Yeah, he's going to lose Mar-a-Lago. Don't you think, Alan?
Yeah. For some reason, it was the original Marjorie Merriweather Post mansion, I believe, from the 20s or 30s. So it's a historic building. It could be something that the National Park Service takes over.
What? That would be so cool. And that means it would be cheap.
It would be cheap.
It would be
people would pay
the National Park Service to afford it. Dang.
Yeah. And the government may take it over and just give it to the National Park Service.
Oh my God.
So, maybe
it's going to be a museum, Alan. You're going to be able to tour and look into the bedroom where all the, boxes, the bathroom, door, the bathroom,
the powder room.
This is the stage where all the boxes were. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's probably what.
The ketchup stain on the wall.
Yeah, here's some ketchup stains, right? But when I'm saying it, I hear myself talking like Eric, trying to make money. It's $50 to see the ketchup stains. It's $75 to see the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, that's where they are. But yeah, I think he's going to lose everything. I see this family losing the golf courses, whatever they own, literally, except for the Trump branding name, which I see them carrying off, just the sign. And I see the boys I always see them going to Eastern Bloc Europe somewhere and trying to start over again after they get out of prison.
Do you think they're both going to prison?
No, I think I've always seen Eric holding the bag. I've always seen Eric being set up. We know that the boys both signed things. They're both implicated. There's tragedy here, guys. I just saw tragedy. I see tragedy. I mean, something could happen to Don Jr. that wouldn't be an accident, kind of. And I could see Eric in jail. I've seen Ivanka in jail on occasion, not always, but I do see her in jail because she's always in this vision. She's like, it's so scratchy. I'm like, yeah, it's not silk, honey. It's prison. It's prison garb.
She'll look lovely in it, no doubt. It's interesting again, because I think some of this hasn't been, because this is so Shakespearean and such a morality play, people have an opportunity to make different choices. People can learn, people can change. I mean, at a certain point, you're in over your head. But it could be that they make choices that honor a different code of conduct, and not just to save their skin. Let's be real. So I don't know that all of this is written in stone, as some other things have been that we've seen.
It's not written in stone, but this is it's the first time I looked at them and I saw that. It's a new thing that I've seen for them. This pressure is immense. It's absolutely immense. You're destroyed. You have nothing. You don't know if you're going to jail. You don't even know if you're going to have a bed to sleep in. I mean, really and truly, they're going to have nothing, nothing. And they're going to lose their reputation, which I think is so important to them as well. And then I don't see, so let me ask you this question, because as I was seeing all that while I was talking about it, you naturally would think that there would be what was that guy that has been giving all the money to Clarence Thomas? You might think that there's a guy like that who might say, come on, kids, I'll give you a house. I'll give you a couple of $1 million. Too bad it happened. Pat him on. Too bad it happened to you. I'll take care of you. I don't see that. Do you see that? Because I can be wrong. Do you see somebody with money coming in to save them in some way, even if it's a small way?
No, they're kryptonite. I mean, they're untouchables. I also think that there's a lot of drug and alcohol abuse among certain people, not just there, but amongst some other public officials because of the stress.
Yeah. It's tragedy. I'm not kidding you guys. I actually have empathy for Don Jr. What I see is tragic. It's not pretty. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's what I'm seeing in his energy right now. So we all have free will. Like somebody said earlier, he could wake up and say, wow, I think I'm pushing it. I'm going to need to back off a little bit. And you guys can fill in the blank on what I'm talking about. But I'm going to back off a little bit. I'm going to get help. I'm going to pull back. He has free will. He can do that. I'm not sure that he will. I'm not. Somebody said that he might be thinking about exiting. Okay. I have to be careful what words I use. And I really think he is a little hopeless. He is really hopeless right now.
I think some of these people are lost in the sauce. I mean, I think that they're very, they're seeing what we already are sort of anticipating, but they already know how the sausage is made on the interior. And I think they know that there's no way, increasingly, there's no way out. There are books, movies, I mean, plays. This is going to be material for many, many years for people.
And it's everywhere. We're going to sign off in a minute. I'll leave with this. This is kind of a lightning rod thing. Alan and I weren't even sure if we wanted to talk about it. But it's indicative of the energy, and maybe the astrologers can let me know what the hell that is. It's like crazy energy. but the indicative of the energy of no one is above the law. No one is safe. The karma is coming for everybody, or the whatever it is. I don't know what it is, whether it's karma or not.
You've called it a reckoning.
That's the word I was just trying to get. Thank you. Reckoning. It's almost like a reckoning. I know. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. But the royal family, they are really, I knew that Charles wasn't going to be king for long. I said that before. I wasn't even, the energy suggested that he really shouldn't have been king, that our world is very different now. We need a young king. We need somebody who understands, youth. But okay. So he's king and he's not well. Charles is not well. I don't know that he's going to be around in a year. Honestly, if he is, he's extremely frail. Definitely not going to be king. He's going to be, I just see him being very frail, very thin, very frail. Perhaps not even ambulatory. And then now we go into what's going on with William and Kate. And look, so that Photoshop thing, y'all, I mean, I was a photographer for 23 years. I used Photoshop for probably 18 of those 23 years. And that was the most terrible Photoshop job ever done. It's almost like whoever did that Photoshop job, do y'all know what I'm talking about? So they for Mother's Day in England, which is different than here, they put out a picture of Kate with the kids. And it was almost, hey, everything is fine. Here's my kids. I'm so happy. It was a beautiful picture. But when you look at the details, that Photoshop job was a setup almost. Like whoever did that almost set them up. Like I want it, like a whistleblower is what I'm hearing. Like I want everybody to know this is fake. I'm not even, you guys, I trained people how to do Photoshop. I mean, a 9-year-old could have done a better job of putting her head in this situation. Okay. I don't know, man. That was rough. Whoever did that Photoshop job really either A, they're criminally incompetent, or B, they wanted it to be known that this was Photoshop. What are you getting, Alan?
I get that the Trump criming family is being brought down by their actions, choices, deeds. And the Windsor family, the royal family, are being challenged by the weight of these traditions, these ways of doing things. And that's very, very Pluto and Aquarius in a way, that we're seeing these structures that may no longer serve, or they cease to exist if you can't find people who will continue to serve in this way. It feels like it's an emotional vice that the whole royal family is in. They're somewhat adrift since the death of the late Queen. Those are massive pumps to fill. Who could ever step into that role? And I think that they're all Charles is, as you said, is on his way out. Camilla's like, where's my exit? And I think that family is really suffering. It's a family, families have issues. And here it's played out in every day in the gossip pages. So I think they're working through some pretty serious stuff, and we could see this impact the monarchy in a way that it was completely unexpected six months ago. Look what's changed 9 months in so many ways. The information that's come out all around the world in terms of Russia and our government, and so I think that there are things that are going to play out. I wish them well. I think that in some cases it's about a family that's in over their heads.
Yeah.
And when I say a family, I mean William and Kate and their kids, and the pressures that are upon them.
Yeah. I think Kate is very sick. I think she is very unwell. And I think that there's a weird energy around Diana having died and left her boys. And what if Kate crosses and leaves her kids, including her husband who lost his mother? It's sort of like a karmic redo if you will. I think Kate has extreme anxiety, and I think this anxiety, I mean, let's face it, they call it the firm. I mean, if you guys know anything about the royal family, it sounds pretty much like a pressure cooker inside. And I think that she's a very strong person, but sometimes when you're strong, you break instead of being flexible. So I think if she had been more flexible, maybe she could have handled it, but I think she was so strong that it might have broken her. I think she's very, very sick. I do not know if she's going to make it out of this. I really don't, you guys. And I think it is going to change the royal family forever. But I would also say, go back and look at history. This is not the first time the royal family has had things happen like this, right? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's why watching Heather Cox Richardson or other historians sometimes gives us perspective, right? It sounds like we're in the worst, craziest time in the world, but I would just encourage you to look back at history. How about when MLK was assassinated? How about when JFK? How about World War II? How about, all these things, the attack on Pearl Harbor? How about the Holocaust? My God, those were insanity. This is child's play compared to that. Okay, so once you have a perspective, you can say, well, humans are doing a little bit better. We have the same energy. We have the same Nazi energy. We're choosing differently. It is manifesting, but we're choosing differently. We're not allowing Trump to become a Viktor Orban. So there's a lot of good here. Try to find perspective.
Yeah, and change is hard. Change is difficult. Change is our constant companion, and yet it makes us stronger. I mean, if these are things being played out in the public eye, that there are millions of people dealing with not royal people, but there are many people dealing with issues in a relationship or responsibilities or past traumas and seeking to get healthy and get help. I think that the monarchy will survive in some form. Some psychics or readers have seen Harry coming back to help his brother.
I've seen it.
I have too, and that doesn't just feel like a nice ending to, again, a Hallmark movie, but it does feel like they're together again. There's a connection that they come back and set it right in a way, set it right and remake it.
Yeah. Like the brothers, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a healing there. There's a lot of healing that's going to happen with this family. But to heal something, you kind of have to acknowledge what's broken. You kind of have to acknowledge the wound to heal it. So we might see some wounds.
Those wounds come up in amazing ways, don't they?
And for us, we're all going through this, guys. It's not just like, this is what we're trying to tell you. It's writ large. All of us, we're going through it. Trump's going through it. Biden's going through his things. The royal family, everybody's going through this transformation time. So be gentle with yourself, drink water, take good care of yourself, unplug from the crazy, go into nature, spend time with things that give you hope and make you happy.
And surround yourself with beauty.
I love that. Is that an amaryllis?
That is an amaryllis. Thank you. Several people in the chat asked. It's an amaryllis from White Flower Farms in Connecticut. And someone else commented on my salt lamp. Thank you.
Yeah. Sending the good vibes out, guys. We're sending the good vibes out. Thank you, Kevin's Loving Vibration. Hey, you guys, check out Alan's webpage, AlanJohnsonIntuitive.com. It's ALLEN. I believe it's in the bottom of the description. So take naps. I love that. Do take naps. Yes. Unplug, read a book, get a puzzle, get a new hobby. You guys, this is just the beginning, and we have to stay well. I'm counting on you guys. We all have to stay well through this. Okay.
And it is a marathon. And I think that, pay attention to what you're giving your attention to. Pay attention if you're focused on things you can't control. Pay attention on what's triggered for you in these situations. I think that people are invested in a fairy tale ending for William and Kate. They're, it's very, very Hollywood and fairy tale. And sometimes life goes that way and sometimes it doesn't. But I believe that we're going to see a very inspiring finish to this. And I'm not saying that someone dying is inspiring, but I think there is a story about the two brothers coming together in a very, very powerful way and making a difference in the world and for their people.
Wow. I love that. It's almost like this reunite. It's almost like the phoenix coming out of the ashes. It's the reuniting of the family,
but in a new way, but a healthy family.
A completely new way. It's a reinvention of the royal family. Just like really, there's going to be a reinvention of the United States with the Democrats and the Republicans. It's definitely going to be a reinvention of the Republicans. Everybody is transformation, guys. Whatever planet does that, I don't know. But it is. We're all going through it. So take really good care of yourselves and send love and light to whomever, first to yourself. You can't help anybody else if you're empty. If your tank is empty, you can't do anything. So you got to pump yourself up first.
And hold a space for others. You have to take care of yourself first, but hold a space of love and light.
Love and light.
As long as you can. And just keep everyone in your prayers.
Yeah.
Or your thoughts. Hold people in the light. We're going to see things that are tough to witness. So we've already seen those things over these last few years. And yet I do feel that there's there is a balancing out that's currently taking place. And we'll have reason to celebrate. I firmly believe that. We'll have reason to celebrate.
I do too. I really do. We wouldn't tell you otherwise. Believe me, we wouldn't. We're going to tell you what we get. Of course, that can change. Everybody has free will. But overall, we know how the movie ends. We just don't know how we get there, right? That's the thing. People can take different paths, different ways to get there. Thanks, everybody, so much.
Amen, sister.
Amen, Alan.
All right. God bless everyone.
Take really good care, everybody. Okay. We'll see you again real soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.